The summer of 1945 bore witness to one of the most devastating events in human history. In the sweltering heat of that year, the world was perched on the precipice of a new and fearsome era. The Allied powers, exhausted by years of relentless conflict, issued the Potsdam Declaration, an ultimatum calling for Japan's unconditional surrender. Yet, the land of the rising sun, bound by honor and tradition, chose not to yield. Meanwhile, under the veil of utmost secrecy, the Manhattan Project was in full swing. Some of the brightest minds of the time were feverishly working to unlock the devastating power of the atom. Their efforts would culminate in a weapon of unprecedented destruction, the atomic bomb. As the hands of fate moved inexorably forward, the stage was set for a catastrophe of unimaginable proportions. With the world unknowingly teetering on the brink of a nuclear age, the Enola Gay took to the skies. With the stage set for catastrophe, the world held its breath as the Enola Gay took to the skies. On the morning of August 6, 1945, the city of Hiroshima awoke to a day like any other, oblivious to the impending horror. As the sun rose, life continued in its usual rhythm. People were heading to work, children were playing in the streets, and the city was thriving with life and energy. But in a matter of moments, everything would change. High in the sky, a B-29 bomber, the Enola Gay, was carrying a deadly cargo, a uranium-235 bomb codenamed Little Boy. At precisely 8:15 in the morning, this weapon of mass destruction was released, plummeting towards the unsuspecting city. As the bomb detonated approximately 600 meters above Hiroshima, it unleashed a force equivalent to about 15,000 tons of TNT. The city was consumed in a blinding flash of light and a wave of heat, followed by a shockwave that flattened buildings and ignited fires throughout the city. The destruction was immediate and total. But the horror did not end there. The bomb's radiation caused immediate sickness and death, but it also had long-term effects. Many survivors, known as the hibakusha, would suffer from radiation sickness, burns, and other injuries, and would carry the physical and emotional scars of that day for the rest of their lives. 3 days later, on August 9th, another B-29 bomber, Boxcar, released another bomb, this one codenamed Fat Man, over the city of Nagasaki. This plutonium-239 bomb exploded with a force of about 21,000 tons of TNT, repeating the same horrific scene of destruction. Once again, a city was decimated, its people killed or injured, its buildings flattened, and fires ignited everywhere. The survivors of Nagasaki, like those of Hiroshima, would bear the burden of their experiences for the rest of their lives. In a flash of light and heat, two cities lay in ruins, their people decimated. The days of August 6 and 9, 1945, will forever be remembered as days of infamy, marking the first and hopefully last use of nuclear weapons in warfare. The smoke cleared to reveal a landscape of devastation, a testament to the destructive power of humanity. As the dust of the bombing settled, Hiroshima and Nagasaki stood in ruins. Entire neighborhoods were flattened, reduced to rubble and ash. The cities were eerily quiet, the air heavy with the weight of lost lives and the unimaginable destruction. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months, and the true extent of the devastation began to emerge. The bombings had not only obliterated the cities, but had also claimed the lives of hundreds of thousands of people. Those who survived the initial blasts were left to grapple with the trauma and the terrifying unseen enemy, radiation. In the wake of the bombings, Japan surrendered, marking the end of World War II. But for the survivors, known as hibakusha, the battle was far from over. They faced a new struggle, the long-term effects of radiation. Many suffered from acute symptoms like nausea, burns, and hair loss. But the radiation's effects were far-reaching and long-lasting. Over time, survivors began to develop cancers and other illnesses at a rate far higher than the general population. The environment too bore the scars of the bombings, with radiation causing mutations in plants and animals. But from this landscape of devastation, stories of resilience began to emerge. Despite the odds, the hibakusha fought to rebuild their lives and their cities. They became advocates for peace, using their experiences to educate the world about the horrors of nuclear warfare. From the ashes of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, we learned a harsh lesson about the power and responsibility that comes with scientific advancement. The bombings serve as a stark reminder of the destructive potential of nuclear weapons. As we remember these tragic events, we must strive for a world where such destruction is a thing of the past.